We are always told that we should be challenging ourselves with our reading. There's little use reading simple, easy to read books often because you will not be expanding your perspective and knowledge. But what is the best way to approach reading difficult books? A book can be difficult for a number of reasons. The language, the ideas inside, or even just managing your boredom during the process. In this video, I'm going to give you some tips about how to read these books, complete them, and get the most out of them. The most common obstacle to reading difficult books is the challenge itself. It can be daunting approaching a book that is over 500 pages written by an expert in their field. To overcome this obstacle, you need to match the task with your expectations. You can't expect to go through a book that is difficult in 2 days unless you skim through it. So set your expectations early and pace yourself accordingly. With a typical book, I aim to read around 80 pages a day, but for a complex book, I aim for around 40 in the same time frame. The reason is simple, because you want to maximize comprehension and account for difficulty in language and ideas. So set your expectations early before starting the book. Another common obstacle is the one of language. If you read books that are old and also complex with its ideas, it's usually the case that the language matches that difficulty. Luckily, out of the 170,000 words in the English dictionary, only 3,000 are used in 95% of writing and speaking. The more you read, the higher chance you have to pick up on the most common words. My advice for anyone reading difficult language, whether it is your second language or not, is to keep a log of any new words you come across. This can be a physical notebook or even an online library on Notion that keeps track of any words you come across. Over time, you'll find these words reappearing and you can memorize their meaning and application in context. Once again, it's about exposing yourself to difficult books often to make sure you are challenging yourself. This brings me to my last point, which is reading books that have challenging ideas. These can be new ideas that you haven't come across before, or ideas that challenge your existing preconceptions about how you see the world. And in my opinion, it's a fine line. You want to read challenging books to expand your perspective, but you also don't want to throw yourself into the deep end and find yourself confused about your world. Becoming a better reader and learner is not only about reading more, it is deciding what books to read, which is an art in of itself. I have many authors and topics that I actively avoid. And this is not because I don't want to challenge myself, it's just because adding those ideas to my existing preconceptions about the world won't actually enhance my thinking. For example, reading books on the denial of the existence of God, which to me holds no value. There will be no new perspective on that topic that I haven't already heard before. Don't get me wrong, I think confusion is good, especially if you learn from it, but it's a fine line. The ability to decipher that fine line just comes with experience, which is why you need to spend more time reading. It's not enough to watch this video or to look at other people's videos. It's time spent reading that enables you to find that fine line. This is why you should always read, continue to read, and the more books you read, the more you'll be able to pick up on this intuition. It's not so much a science as it is an intuition. Hopefully some of these tips helped with your approach to reading challenging books. I'd love to know in the comments some of the most challenging books you've read and what you found most difficult about it. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Before you go, I just want to let you know that every month I send out a monthly newsletter that includes book reviews, book recommendations, and author insights from my weekly podcasts with authors. The newsletter is totally free and the link is in the description below. It would mean the world to me if you did subscribe.